Welcome, everybody. It is the Off the Wall Hockey Show, a hockey show for hockey fans, part of the Steel Flyers All Sports Network. We are on episode 48, and we're getting close now to the end of 2021. Almost 50 episodes in. This one is brought to you by Manscaped. Don't forget to check out manscaped.com and use that promo code OTWH for 20% off, plus free shipping on your order. Make sure you X out of that gift promo code that is in there for the holidays and use OTWH. You'll get 20% off plus free shipping, and it really helps us out a lot. And a big thank you to Manscaped for coming on as a partner.
Yes.
Steele back again as the co-host, and we got a lot to talk about this week. Another week of action, and then some off the ice stuff as well that is limiting a lot of the action. So a lot to get into here. And we'll get started. But Steele, how are you doing? And ready for a great show?
I am doing fantabulous. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
I saw you did some really, really awesome calls this week.
Yeah, this was a big week. I can't
wait to hear about some of the we're going to get to a game that you called a little later on the show.
Yes.
Okay, right. Okay, so I was tuned into that game, bro. So that was all that and a bag of unopened Doritos. Yeah, baby. Also, big thanks, big props to Manscaped for jumping on and giving us the sponsorship here, or the opportunity to try to get a sponsorship. Yep. If you guys click on the promo code, erase the gift, click on that gift and erase that and put OTWH in the promo code. If we get 10 signups, we get sponsorship from them on a full-time basis. So it's a great product. We use it. We're ambassadors of it. We're going to see some great commercials of it. So big thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring us and for having faith in us to continue on. So thank you very much to that. John, I can't wait to get into it, man. There's a lot of stuff going on, man. A lot of stuff. Not just on the ice, but off the ice as well, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll get right into it here with our top stories. And I think everybody knows what number one is. The big thing sweeping across the NHL right now, sweeping across really all of sports and all of North America. COVID is, well, it never really left, so you can't really say it's back. But it's back in a big way compared to where we were at. And it is hitting the NHL very, very hard. And I don't want to spend a ton of time on this because, quite frankly, it's really depressing to talk about. And it just never ends. It never ends. And it's back again. We've got Florida shut down. We've got Calgary shut down. We've got Colorado shut down.
Boston.
We've got the Bruins. I don't know what the heck they're doing with Boston, honestly. Because
they postponed the game.
They canceled tomorrow, but they postponed tomorrow, but they didn't postpone Sunday. They didn't postpone Tuesday. Then they postponed Thursday because of the Avalanche, not because of the Bruins.
Right.
Like Boston might. I don't understand what they're doing. Like, how could you not send Boston to Montreal, which I think they shouldn't be going to Canada right now, but then make them go to Ottawa the day after? Like, that to me doesn't make any sense.
So then why would they make Philadelphia? Because they made Philadelphia go up there and play in front of no fans.
Yeah,
and they made that announcement like an hour or two before the game
started. that was Montreal. That was the Quebec.
Yeah.
That was the Quebec government. It's a mess right now. That's the point. It's an absolute mess right now. We've got some teams completely shut down. We've got other teams playing, but with missing guys. Carolina, I just did their game last night. They only had 10 forwards dressed for the game because that's all they had available. So they had to play with basically 3 lines and then 1 extra forward, not an actual 4th line. It's just an absolute mess right now, and this has come back in a big way rather quickly. I would say really like over the past week or so, or the past 2 weeks, but especially this past week, things have just absolutely exploded, and it's hitting everybody really, really hard. It's not just the NHL, it's the NFL as well, getting absolutely hammered with this.
So, all right. Got a question. And then they make all the players get vaccinated?
Yeah. There's only one that isn't.
And there's a lot of what? Wait, what? Huh? They mandated for all the players to get vaccinated, and now they're having this major
Well, I think
round.
it's pretty clear now that the vaccine isn't stopping transmission.
Yeah, okay.
It lessens the symptoms when you do get it, but it doesn't seem to be stopping anybody from getting it because all of these players are vaccinated. Tyler Bertuzzi, I think, was the only one in the NHL that isn't, and everyone else was. They had 99% vaccination rate, and everyone's still getting it. So I think you can throw away the idea that the vaccine was going to stop you from getting it. All it does now is lessen the symptoms when you do get it, so that hopefully it's not an actual severe sickness, which that was talked about today. Is most everybody that's getting it is either asymptomatic or has very mild symptoms. Nobody's getting dangerously sick, but they're still getting it, and it's got to be, I don't know what the list is even up to now, but it's got to be close to 100 players at this point.
Okay, so do you remember when I said this a couple of shows ago about how I felt this was going to come through, like how back in the day when the flu was going around?
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly what's going on here. Okay, and so I don't know about maybe. See, I have conflicting opinions here about what I think is going on, and then I think they maybe might have dropped the ball here a little bit and weren't testing as much or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because why would you be going along and now suddenly everybody's getting it and they're vaccinated? Oh, I'm sorry, they have the shot or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so everybody got the shot and now, but they're all getting sick now, right? Coaches too. Yeah,
Yeah, a bunch of coaches,
right.
trainers, traveling party, everybody.
That's what I mean. Everybody that's involved. So I mean, it's kind of like, you see why I'm having a hard time with trying to. You know what I mean? It's hard for me to try to put any kind of finger on this because I have a lot of conflicting opinions here, and I don't want to put my opinions into what is actually going on.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because what my opinion is doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. No, that's how
right?
I feel. Like, what I think about it means nothing.
Yeah, right.
People are always asking, like, what do you think about, this game getting canceled or this game not, or I don't have an opinion. I don't have a clue.
Right.
This is not my area that I know anything about. I know nothing about medical stuff, nothing about science. Like this, I have no idea. That's why the NHL has doctors and people like that to go to and talk to about what's happening, because I have no idea.
No clue. Not a freaking clue, man.
Nope.
I am not a professional. That's not what I get paid to do. I don't study any of that stuff. I'm not a biologist or whatever nope, don't do any of that stuff, okay? All I do is report what I see and observe what I see and report back on what I observe.
Yep.
And right now what I'm observing is the NHL kind of either dropped the ball and weren't testing as much to help to keep people protocoled, or it's bout that's just gonna go like the wave does in the wintertime, like the flu used to.
That's
and then
what it seems like.
I mean, I'm not trying to downplay this. Like I said, we've already made the disclaimer. We're not professionals, we're not doctors, we're not anything like that. But all I can do is give you what my observational powers are and what I see. Right? So this is what I see. A lot of teams now are having a lot of players and coaches and travel, whatever, put into the protocol.
Yep.
Okay. And so it's very much similar to when the flu was going round, where you would get a group, every other team would get it. And then that's just how it would be. I mean, if you watch the guys on the ice
Mm-hmm.
on a regular basis, they are disgusting. Okay? If you really want to put it out there. Seriously, okay? If you watch guys on the football field, they're disgusting because they are constantly excommunicating things out of their body up in this
Yes.
area, in the facial area. You get where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
Right? And so what are you doing? In a time and an era and a place where you have to have all of these protocols in place and guys are just slinging the stuff all over the place. Well, what do you expect? I mean, maybe it's just me. Maybe I could be the only one that sees that.
Oh no, there's a lot of fluids around when you're playing sports, and
a lot of sharing of fluid bottles.
The bench is not a clean place, believe me.
No. Look, I played football for a long time. I never played hockey. I never was capable of lacing it up in anger or enjoy, or however you want to call it. But I played football for a number of years, and I'm here to tell you, it's not the cleanest place. No. It really is. It's rather disgusting if you want to know the truth. And it kind of feeds why I have this, I don't know, aversion to people that are excommunicating things out of their mouth. I mean, I'm serious. I do, man, because I just spent so many years dealing with people doing that. Not just on the sidelines, but on the field.
See, I've had the opposite reaction to that. Like, it doesn't bother me at all anymore because I'm just so used to it.
Okay, but when you're not around it a lot and then you suddenly see it, you're a little bit overwhelmed, I think. Right? Because now you're like, whoa, man, if you kind of really take notice, those guys really are pretty nasty on the bench. And,
oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's not a clean area. There's a lot going on there.
Okay, so that's what I think is feeding this too. I mean, let's face it, it has to be something to do with that, at least.
I don't know. I mean, it's there. The other thing is, like, when, they're living their daily lives too. Like, they're not locked down anymore. They're not in a bubble anymore. Like, they're living day-to-day life. So they're out there. Their families are out there. They're going to restaurants. They're going to bars on days off. Like, they're doing all the things that, everyone else is doing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Been out to dinner, out to breakfast with my friends like 3 times this week. Like, I've gone out a bunch of places and they're doing the same things. Like, they could pick it up anywhere. And then once it gets in, one guy gets it in the locker room, all of a sudden, boom, now 3 guys have it. Now 6 guys have it, and it just keeps spreading.
It doesn't take long, does it?
It does not take long. No, we saw that with the Calgary Flames. I mean, their whole team, there's like 4 guys left on that entire roster that aren't in protocol right now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's like, whoa. All right. So,
but Calgary's doctor, they did a press conference today. He said like 4 to 6 of them he would call as having moderate symptoms, and everyone else is either asymptomatic or has very mild symptoms.
Okay, so it's basically like, take a couple of days, get medicated, whatever, rest, get cleared up, get negative tests, and come on back.
So I'll have the exact tweet here. Dr. Ian Ald from Flames Doctor says, overwhelmingly so far, our cases have been either asymptomatic or mildly symptomatic. Said 4 to 6 have moderate symptoms, but it's quite quick, turning the corner within 36 to 48 hours. Overwhelmingly, we've seen mild disease, which is reassuring. That's
Yeah,
straight from the Calgary Flames doctor.
Okay, so that is very reassuring from
Yes.
them. You know what I mean? Because Calgary is one of the teams that has a lot of people, including their coach.
Calgary is the most by far. They've got literally almost the whole team.
Yeah, in the protocol.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And also like 10 plus other staff members too.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's like all the players and most of the staff.
Yeah.
Like Calgary, it's almost everybody.
Yeah. That's a lot. You know what I mean? So we kind of saw the league kind of drop the ball at the very beginning of this, when they didn't have a set rule for how many players needed to be on the COVID list before the league was going to step in.
I think they waited too long to shut down certain teams when the outbreak was happening.
Yes,
when it was starting.
They
didn't shut down Calgary early enough, and they didn't shut down the New York Islanders early enough.
Yeah.
And that, I think, has allowed it to go a lot farther than it would have had they shut them down earlier. Because I think the league was trying to play games, like postponements were our last resort. They were trying to play, if that all they could possibly play, they were trying to get those games in. And unfortunately, it's spread so fast that now they're seeing more postponements now on the other side of it than they would have if they had just tried to nip this in the bud early as soon as they started detecting cases.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you 100% on that. All day.
Because Calgary started putting guys on, not that many, but they started putting guys on the list, and I think they played 2 games after their first couple guys went on the list, and they played 2 more games. And then the teams that they played have started to have COVID issues, Boston being one of them that they played last Saturday night. And then as soon as Boston finished that, the next day after Boston got done with Calgary, they had their first 3 guys went on the list, and then it snowballed from there to, I think they're up to 9 now.
Who Boston is now?
Boston, I think, is up to 9 now. Players, not including other staff involved too.
Okay. Well, man, this is what it's going to be.
Yep.
Okay.
It sucks.
There's nothing like that. It's like, yeah, well, how do you feel or what do you think? Well, it doesn't really matter how I feel or what I think, because this is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's how I feel. Like every time people ask me what I think, I'm like, I don't really think anything because I don't know and I don't have any control over this. Like, if there's a game, great. If not, then I'll do something else. Like,
right,
there's nothing I can do about it.
We'll talk about the fact that there wasn't a game.
Yeah,
and why there wasn't. This
is just the world that we live in now, and it sucks in a lot of ways, but that's the way it is, and there's really nothing you can do to change it. So,
exactly,
it's just really unfortunate that we're going through all of this again, just like last season.
That's that's where I'm at. It's unfortunate that we have to deal with this again. Like, they made everybody get the shot. They had all these protocols in place, and like that just didn't seem to matter.
It didn't. I don't think it didn't work the way that they thought it was going to.
Yeah,
it wasn't. I don't think it was effective as they thought it was going to be,
or whatever protocols they had, and see, look, here's the real shame of it, okay? Because in my observation, I felt that the NHL was one of the leaders in how they were taking care of the players and how they were, especially when they were in the bubble where they tested 1,600 players almost every other day or something crazy like that. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't have one outbreak.
Yep.
And now it's like, oh, you let them go home, you let them go out and be out in public, society, whatever. And now look, this is what's going on. Well, it would be just the same if they were catching the flu. I mean, I'm not trying to. In some circumstances, can the flu be just as deadly as COVID? I agree with that. Okay. Like I said, I'm not a professional. I don't know anything. But it just seems kind of like where even the way, like the doctor said, where it's not, they're all asymptomatic. So it's kind of like when, when the players were getting the flu, you would hear of a guy that would get the flu where he would not be feeling all that great. He would get an IV that,
Oh, they'd play anyway if they had the flu, they'd
right.
play anyway. I mean, unless you had it really bad where you couldn't play, like a lot the guys would just play right through it.
Okay. So, and you would hear about guys that would get like IVs and,
Yeah. They skip the
okay,
morning skate, they'd take a nap in the afternoon, and
get an IV, a
they'd get an
shot of
IV, they'd
B12.
drink enough fluids to be able to play for 2 hours, and they would get through the game, and then
That would
they'd be
be it.
sick for a few days, and then they'd be back fine.
Exactly. Now, the problem with that is that that is right at the time of when everything is the most contagious, is right at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so now
Yep.
you get a guy who gets it, right? Yeah, he might only need to be down for a day or two, not miss a game, but only be down a day or two. But now one guy got it. Now you see how, and we see how clean it is on the bench there.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? I'm not trying to compare it at all. I'm not trying to put the flu into the same bucket, literally, as COVID. I'm not. Okay. But I'm going by what I observe, and I observe how the NHL is handling it and how they handled the flu in the past. Not comparing it, but that's kind of what I have it to go off of.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't
Uncharted
handle
territory.
the flu. This
Yeah.
is a new territory because they didn't handle the flu. Like
Exactly.
there was no flu testing before games. There was
Exactly.
there was no there was no protocol if
Nope.
players on the team got the flu. Like there was nothing. Like
Yep.
this is the only time like anything has ever been handled on a sickness has ever been handled on a league-wide basis like this. Like we've never seen anything like this. Like there was nothing. Like the flu is it just goes around and you just get it or you don't. And like players, if they're good enough to play anyway. And if they weren't, if they they were really got it bad and they couldn't play, then they missed a game or two.
Yeah.
And usually it was never more than a game or two, and they were back.
Right. So what I'm saying is that how I think this whole thing is going to change moving forward is that now the flu is going to be added to that same kind of protocol, I believe, or at least it should be as far as I'm concerned. If you're going to treat it the same way, or because it has the same kind of symptomology, why not just isolate a player who tests positive for the flu and just isolate him for a game so that he gets to be sick, gets his IV, gets his medication, gets his rest, and he's sick and cool. And then the rest of the team doesn't get it.
Do they have tests for
No.
the flu? Can you get a flu test?
I don't know.
I have no. I've never had
I
it,
imagine if you can test for COVID, I look, like I said, I am not a professional. I'm just saying that we're in 2021 right now, and if they can test for COVID, I'm sure they can test for flu.
Yeah, they must have like a test for regular influenza, I would think.
I mean, they give you a shot based off of the current year's variant.
Yeah, or what they think it's gonna be.
Or yeah, what they think it's going to be.
The flu shot's mostly their best guess at what they think it's gonna be.
And there you have it, right there. I think you said it right there, John. Their best guess.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I think we've shed enough light into the fact that the NHL really needs to do let's say they need to do a better job of either A, testing, B, isolating, C, making sure that if a player does test positive, that they are taken care of and isolated, and or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are your thoughts?
I just talk to the professionals,
Yep.
talk to doctors, talk to
Yep.
scientists, and whatever they think, whatever they think the next step should be is what you do.
Yeah. You just let me know when the hockey's going to start playing so
Yeah,
I can start
just
watching hockey.
tell me if the game's happening or not. Just keep the schedule updated, and if the game happens, great. If not,
great.
then
This is what I'm watching.
Then I'll find something else. But
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, it's just this past week, it's just exploded and it's everywhere. And seems like almost every team has at least somebody on the list. And obviously, there are a number of teams with a lot more than just a couple people, and we're starting to see a good number of games postponed because of it.
Yeah, and that's going to obviously affect our games for Saturday for sure. There's been a few games on Saturday that have been postponed, to say the very least.
Already,
so,
yeah. And we don't know. We could get more tomorrow morning.
Could get more, yeah. Depending on how things go, I would think.
Yep.
Yeah. So, what do you say we? Gosh, man. I noticed that we worked on this at the same time.
Yeah.
Again, and I didn't realize that you went to 4 games. Do you go to Thursday, or do you go Friday to Friday?
Friday to Friday.
See, I only go from Saturday because I don't count the Friday because. I don't know. I guess maybe I should.
Yeah, because the Friday, we don't know. By the time we're doing the show, we don't know what's happening right now.
Right.
So I go Friday to Friday.
Yeah, all right. Well, okay. So, correction for later. What do you say we move on, though? Because I really...
Yeah.
Look... Basically, in the end here, NHL needs, I think, to do a better job and needs to step up and make sure that these players are tested on a more regular basis, I guess. I don't know what... I thought they had a protocol where they were getting tested on a regular basis, but I guess not. Because I feel that if they were tested on a more regular basis, they could have caught this sooner.
Yeah, I don't know. And... I don't know if there's anything that would have... I feel like maybe shutting the teams down earlier on in the process, not waiting until literally half their team is out to start postponing games. Because what we've seen is like once one or two guys go on the list, usually within the next few days, there's a lot more added. Like they'll catch it with a couple guys early, and then more like it's already there, but they just haven't come back positive yet. And then within the next 2 to 3 days, more and more and more.
Seems like that's how it's going.
Yeah, more and more and more keep getting added over the days following those first few. So I feel like if they had, maybe shut teams down a little bit earlier rather than waiting till all of those other guys came in and then literally almost the whole team has it. Like if they could have stopped it earlier, they could have maybe stopped it from spreading to other locker rooms and other teams. But who knows? Maybe they're not even getting it from actually playing, and maybe they're getting it out in the grocery store or out at a restaurant the night before. I mean, there's really no way to trace exactly where it comes from, but it does seem you can kind of put 2 and 2 together when the teams that played against Calgary start being the next teams that pop up with it, and the teams that next play against a team that's had it before are the next team to start popping up with it. Like you can kind of connect the dots a little bit there, that it probably has to do with them playing against that team. So I don't know. It's going to be for the doctors to decide, and the league ultimately will have to do what they think is best based on the advice from whatever health experts they're talking to. But I am certainly not a health expert, so I'm just going to go with whatever the league decides to do.
I mean, that's all I can do anyway. I can only report on what I see.
Yep.
And what I'm seeing is teams going out with COVID, with a lot of players and a lot of coaches being put on the list, and I'm starting to see that affect the schedule to where games are being postponed,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's what we're reporting and that's what we're calling here. And but there are still some games that are going on, and so
Yes.
we're thankful for that. And I say that there are some there are some positives that's happened this week,
Mm-hmm.
and along with what we've been talking about, there's been some negatives as well
Negatives,
too.
yeah.
So what do you want to do? What do you want to do first? I mean, we kind of started with the COVID. What do you want to do first?
Let's talk about Vancouver.
Yeah, let's do that.
This is probably one of the biggest positives going on in the league right now is what the Vancouver Canucks have done since the coaching change.
I'll agree with that. I mean, it's like a different voice came in there, and you see how the players have reacted to him.
Mm-hmm.
And they were on the verge of basically blowing it up.
Yeah, things were about as bad as they could have gotten with the Vancouver Canucks before this change was made.
Exactly.
And it's like a whole new team on the other side of it. It's like the roster's the same. They haven't made any roster moves,
Not a
but
one.
it's like a whole new team on the other side of this.
See, that's the sick part. Right? See, there's teams like that where the coach is the issue. And I think we kind of saw that a little bit last year in Montreal,
Mm-hmm.
where after the coach was kind of replaced and Demare was brought in, you know what I mean? They made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. Now, I think his job is kind of on the block again now. But anyway,
Ducharme's probably gone at the end of this year.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably gone at the end of this year.
Yeah. But the fact that Boudreau has come in with and the only knock on him is, can he win the?
Yeah.
But Vancouver doesn't need that right now. You know what I mean? Look, it's all fine and great if you want to, everybody has that goal.
Yeah.
To make the playoffs and to win the Stanley Cup, but you have to take baby steps first. You have to win.
Yeah.
You have to put some games together like they're doing now.
Yeah, you got to make the playoffs before you can worry about winning in the playoffs. Like the big knock against Bruce Boudreau is he hasn't won in the playoffs. His teams have done very well in the regular season, and then they tend to fall flat in the postseason. That's not Vancouver's worry right now. Like Vancouver's just trying to get to the playoffs. Never mind actually go somewhere in the playoffs. So if Boudreau can have a good regular season and win them some games, that's going to be good enough, at least at this point, for the Canucks.
Yeah, I do have that feeling. Like they're going to probably keep everybody together if they continue to, especially if Boudreau is able to get them to the playoffs.
They're pulling themselves somewhat back into playoff contention. It's still, they've still got a ways to go. I wouldn't say it's likely for them to make the playoffs, but they're pulling themselves at least back into a position where they could compete for a wild card spot and potentially get in if they keep playing the way that they are.
Well, let's put it to you like this. In the last week, there have been, 4 games on average for the league? Each team has played on average 4 games since we've done our last show. I would say
probably teams have probably played 3 or 4. Yeah.
Right. On average since we did our last show. Right?
Yep.
So the top shelf power rankings has completely flip-flopped, and now we're talking about the fact that Vancouver's now just won 6 in a row.
Actually, a lot's changed as far as standings. Yeah. As far as standings go, a lot's changed since our last show, just over this past week.
Exactly. But what I mean by that is when you suddenly put 6 wins together and 12 points up on your opponents, up on your division, up on your, league, whatever, that suddenly can vault you into a better position.
Vancouver's 4 points out of a playoff spot.
After starting the way they did, after firing the coach, after getting a new coach in, and now the new coach.
I should say 5 because Edmonton has the tiebreaker because Edmonton's played less games, but
only by like 3 or 4 or
they've
2.
played 3 less games than Vancouver.
3 games.
Vancouver's at 30 points now through 31 games. And Edmonton's at 34 points through 28 games. So to actually take the spot, Vancouver needs 5 points. But compared to where they were 2 weeks ago, this is like miraculous.
Whoa.
They were so far out of it 2 weeks ago, and now they're 4 or 5 points away from taking a playoff spot. Now, the problem for them is going to be the number of games that they've played. They've already played more than almost everyone else in the division has played less. The only team that's played the same number as them is Anaheim, and I don't think Vancouver really has to worry about catching Anaheim because Anaheim's in first. But
yeah, I don't think
they're worried about catching the Edmonton Oilers, who are at 34 points right now, and Vancouver's only 4 points away from tying them and 5 points away from passing them.
Okay, and they're on a 6-game win streak, and Edmonton is not.
No, they just finally broke the losing streak.
Right, and Vancouver's been playing pretty much the exact opposite of what Edmonton's been playing. So it's like they kind of flip-flopped.
Vancouver's the difference in their play.
It's amazing.
Under Boudreau is nuts.
Yeah, it is. It's really. It's like, that new message that comes in, and you can tell he's having fun with players.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a fun guy and like a funny coach and like a real, like, very likable. Everybody loves Bruce Boudreau.
Let's just see what he can do with Vancouver. He's had the distinct honor and privilege of coaching Ovechkin and the Capitals and winning a lot of games and things of that nature. So let's see what he can do in Vancouver. I gotta be honest with you. I would have I kind of felt that Philadelphia dragged their feet a little bit, firing AV, and I think they could have gotten Boudreau, or I think that could have been a nice move for Philadelphia. But now that he's with Vancouver, I think, now obviously Philadelphia's going to have to look somewhere else. But I think they
ride it out with Mikey O for the rest of this year.
Yeah, they're going to probably do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
that's been a common thing. I mean, Vancouver obviously made the change, but the riding it out with the interim has been a common thing. I mean, Florida's seems to be keeping Andrew Brunette.
Yeah, that's that's another point I was going to bring up was Andrew Brunette being still in Florida.
Montreal, they changed, GMs, but Gorton said that Ducharme's going to finish out the year.
Yeah.
So that's been a pretty common thing, but Vancouver might have been the smart one in going out and getting Boudreau, who's had a fantastic effect on this team.
So it's going to remain to be seen how it works out. Once you get to that point where they lose, how do they react to that? Because all they've done is win now under him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting when they lose their first game under him and to see what the response to that is. Is that like, okay, party's over, we go back to being a 500 team? Or do they rally and be like, okay, we're not the old Canucks anymore. We're going to rally from this and we're going to go on a new winning streak now.
See, there you go. That's why we call John the GOAT. Because you are the main man, pots and pans, when it comes to that kind of knowledge. And that's exactly what we're talking about here, man. That's exactly what we're talking about here when it comes to coaching the Vancouver Canucks with Boudreau. And if he's able to get that out of these players and get them to a spot where they can win more games than not, hey man, more power to you, bro. Right? Because I think he's a good enough coach to where if they keep following the way he's going to go with these guys, you know what I mean, then I think they would have a shot. Maybe not this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I don't think they'll really make a run this year. I'm increasingly thinking that they have a legitimate shot to get into the playoffs this year.
Okay, yeah, because we didn't have them pegged to go very far anyway. I don't
No,
think we did.
I didn't think that they would be, a cup contender or anything. But
No, 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 no.
I certainly, I thought they were going to be a playoff team this year,
Okay. All
and
right.
that maybe they end up being. Obviously, they didn't look like it for the first 25 games, but I don't know.
Obviously, yeah.
This might be a turnaround that could potentially get them in. They made the change early enough, but again, we're gonna have to see. They still have a lot of teams to pass.
That's true.
They're
And
in seventh. They have a
and
lot
that's
of
the other
teams to
thing too.
pass.
They have such a hole to climb out of.
Yeah.
That the fact that they've won 6 straight and they're still 4 points back.
That's the big hole that they have to climb out of.
Yeah. If they can do that, right, and pick and claw and scrape for that final wild card slot, do you know what I mean? Then cool. That's a good story for them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's kind of a wait and see. Yeah, they've won 6 games, but I want to see how they lose 6 games.
Yeah.
Under the new coach and see how that goes. And then can they rally, like you said? Do they have any pushback against this adversity?
Yeah, that'll be the big question is, what's that response like when they do lose again? And they can't afford many more losses. They can't afford another 5-6 game losing streak this year. Like they've dug themselves a hole where they need to win a majority of their remaining games. Like I looked at the math on it when I talked about Vancouver this past week. They got to win, usually the cutoff for the last wild card spot is somewhere between 90 and 95 points. Yeah. For them to get there, they're going to have to win over 60% of their remaining games.
Wow.
It's going to, we don't know right now exactly where the cutoff line is going to be. It's going to depend on what everybody else does. But for them to get to 90 points, they're going to have to win, I think it was like 60.5% of their remaining games. And for them to get up to like 95 points, it was closer to like 63%. So they've got to win over 60% of their games that they have left this year. That's not an easy thing to do.
No, it's not an easy thing to do. And it's not like it's not unheard of. Because when Berube came in for St. Louis, when the coach was fired in St. Louis and Berube came in, they went on their run.
Who he replaced? Mike Yeo.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. No.
That's why I said that.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It's possible. It's not. It's certainly possible that Vancouver could do that and could get into the playoffs. And that's all they have to do is get into that second wild card spot, and then boom, you're a playoff team.
0-0-0, man.
Yeah,
you
start fresh. Now
that's right.
Probably won't be fun for them if they have to play, Minnesota or
whoever.
Anaheim or Calgary or
whatever.
Something like that in the first round. But
right.
At least, I mean, for them to even make the playoffs at this point would be spectacular. That'd be a spectacular turnaround if they could make the playoffs. I don't think I wouldn't pick them to make it right now. I don't think it's likely, but they're mathematically they certainly have a shot. They certainly have a shot.
And I like their chances. I mean, it's not like they're
well, that division isn't all that great, so that really does help.
Okay, so and they're not that horrible of a team.
No, well, that's the thing is they never should have been as bad as they were.
Okay, so all right,
their roster is so much better than what they've been over the last, this season and what they were last year. They should be so much better than that.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is a team that can win. They got the guys to do it. They just have to get it all together at the right time, and it seems like that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah, let's get everybody all on the same page.
Yeah.
And then let's skate everybody on the same page. And then once we get everybody on the same page, hey, let's put them all out on the ice at the same time. Hey, look at that. Look how it's working.
Yep.
And I like how it's working up there, especially with the 6-game win streak. So more power to the Bruce Boudreau and the Canucks with their coaching change, man. That's
worked out really well.
So far, so good.
Yes.
So like we said, I want to see what happens when they lose a game or two, and how do they
react to that?
Yeah. How do they face that? How do they deal with that? You know what I mean? So
they got to be able to bounce back from losses because they cannot afford losing streaks. They can't put 3, 4, 5 losses in a row anymore. They're gonna have no shot at the playoffs if they do that.
Pretty much, they can probably they have to do that, win 6 games in a row, lose a game, win 2, 3 games,
4. Then they gotta win. If you cut the Vancouver's season into 10-game segments from here on out, they've got to win at least 7 out of 10.
They got to be 7-3 out of those 10 games and 10-game chunks.
Yeah, they got to win on average probably about 7 of them. Yes.
Well, I mean, you could probably slip in a couple 6-4s.
Yeah, no, you could definitely slip in. You put a few 6-4s in there, they'll be fine. But I would they would gotta get close to 7 out of 10 on average for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny that although we're talking about the fact that it's great positive that they made a coaching change, and now not only did they make the coaching change, but they've won 6 games.
Yes.
I mean, there's other teams that have made coaching changes that haven't won 6 games in a row.
Yeah. I think all the other teams that have made coaching changes did not have 6-game winning streaks right after the change.
Haven't even been able to go past 3 games.
Yeah.
Right. So, all right. Okay. Well,
speaking of coaching changes, we got a bit of a surprise today.
Oh my gosh!
This came out of left field. I mean, maybe not totally out of left field because there was actually a little bit of talk about, him being on the hot seat. But Paul Maurice just resigns today, out of nowhere. Nobody knew this was coming. Even all the NHL insiders were, they were, as it happened, they were tweeting, obviously, because that's what they do, and they were like, "We did not see this coming." And everyone was caught off guard. Paul Maurice just resigns as head coach of the Winnipeg Jets today. Now, Winnipeg hasn't had a great year. They've underachieved this season. They're out of a playoff spot right now. And there was a lot of talk about Maurice potentially getting fired at some point. And there was a lot of talk about, him being on the hot seat and Winnipeg underperforming. And, so it maybe wasn't completely out of left field, but I think you don't see this often where the coach resigns rather than getting fired by the general manager of the team. The coach actually just pulls himself out, and his press conference was I loved it. I thought it was extremely thoughtful and self-aware, and he realized, I think, that his message had grown stale and that the team wasn't responding to him anymore. And he didn't have the effectiveness that he once did. And I think that's very rare for coaches to do that, because usually coaches have egos bigger than the arenas that they coach in. And they think that it's all about them. And, they're like, no, it's not. I'm not the problem. Why? It's the players' issue that they're not responding to me. When Paul Maurice was, very honest and open about how he just didn't feel like he was effective anymore, and he had been there a long time,
9 years.
He was the second longest tenured coach in the NHL. The only one longer is John Cooper in Tampa Bay, and obviously he's got 2 Stanley Cups, so he's probably not going anywhere. And Maurice actually referenced that in his press conference. He said, for you to last that long, you have to have Stanley Cups, and John Cooper's got 2 of them, and Maurice obviously doesn't. So, he said, it was time. He said, I care about this team. I love this team, this organization, and I am not the right guy to get the most out of this team anymore. Yeah. And he just stepped away. And that's very rare in professional sports, but I loved it.
So he did spend 9 years with the Jets. Okay. And
really been that long?
Yeah.
Holy
that's
cow.
Really been that long. Yeah. So, because I when I saw your top story, and I'm like, oh wow, and then I didn't see the press conference, but I read some of the transcripts of the press conference, right? And so the fact that he came out and admitted to the ownership, they had a couple of conversations the week before, and said that he went to them and said, look, I don't think I'm getting through to these guys.
Yep.
I'm not the right guy for this team anymore. And you should really bring somebody else in here
Yep.
because I'm not the guy anymore, right? And said that like a couple of maybe games or maybe a week before he actually resigned.
Yep.
So ownership knew and management knew.
Yeah.
Right.
But we did not.
Right. And even the players were shocked.
Yeah, the players were like, what the heck just happened?
Right. They were completely. I read the statement too from Scheifele too, and he was like, "Hey, where are we? What?
Yep.
2 hours later, I find out the coach is gone. Well,
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where, but I too also agree with you very much so, John, and felt that this was a great point. I really like the fact that he came out and said that he's not the guy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that he stepped away because of that reason, that he felt that the team was not listening to his message anymore.
Yep. They need a new voice. He outrightly said that they need a new voice.
Yeah, he said, "How do you fix this team?" He said, "I don't know. It's not my job anymore."
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like when a player retires. Sometimes a player doesn't always get that knock at the door so obvious that says, I'm sorry, but you can't play this game anymore, so you really should hang it up.
I think there's a couple players getting that this year.
But some guys don't. That knock doesn't register for them. They don't.
Oh yeah, because they're so competitive, and that's all they know is playing, and they don't want to give that up. But
exactly,
the door knocks for everybody at some point.
See, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was able to come out and say that he wasn't the guy.
Every coach has a shelf life. I don't care how great of a coach you are. Every coach has a shelf life, and something's got to change. Either you completely, if a coach is going to stay with a single team for, decades, then you've got to be changing the roster around like significantly, because you can't have the same coach and the same player. I mean, maybe one or two players, but it can't be the same coach and the same main group for too long, because the coach's message will run out, and the shelf life will end, and it doesn't matter how great of a coach you are. I mean, Paul Maurice has coached over 1,600 NHL games. He's one of the most well-liked and respected coaches in the game. And I mean, I don't care, how great of a coach you are. If you're, a multi-time Stanley Cup winner, you still have a shelf life. And either the coach ends up getting changed, or the roster has to turn over enough to where you're getting new players in there where your voice doesn't go stale. And, I look at there aren't really many coaches in professional sports that last, years and years and years. Even the best ones, you get to year 7 or 8 and it's like, all right, it's probably time to move on. I mean, even great coaches like Peter Laviolette, change teams. Barry Trotz has changed teams. All of these guys end up coaching multiple teams. And, someone like, there's really nobody in hockey that stays beyond that 10-year mark. That is pretty much it. And Claude Julien, when he left Boston, had been here for a long time, but his message went stale eventually. And I think you have to go to other sports to kind of see those coaches that stay forever. Bill Belichick, obviously in New England, but the Patriots roster has turned over so many times during Belichick's tenure that he's coaching different players. Every 4 to 5 years, except for maybe a few core pieces like Devin McCourty, Dante Hightower, obviously Tom Brady for almost 20 years when he was here, except for maybe a few core pieces, that roster was completely turned over every 4 to 5 years. Yeah. So his message didn't go stale because it was new people receiving it every so often. Every few years it was new people receiving it. Greg Popovich in the NBA coaches the Spurs. Coach there forever, but everything's changing. Like there's always new players. Something's got to change, for a coach to last. Like either the coach changes or the core of the roster has to be completely turned over for the message not to go stale. And in hockey, you don't really see roster turnover as much as some of those other sports. So generally it's the coach that changes. And this is another example of the coach changes.
I think it should be sometimes the other way around, to be honest with you. But it's a lot harder to give pink slips to 23 players than it is to give a pink slip to one guy.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to turn a whole roster around than just let the coach go and bring in someone new.
So now let me pose a question to you here just for giggles and cookies, right? So Philadelphia went out and went all in to build a team around the coach, Alain Vigneault.
Yep.
25 games in, they fire him.
Yep.
So now what? Right? So now do you have to find a coach now that's going to be able to pick the guys that are AV type guys and work with them? Or you see what I mean?
Oh, yeah, that's a tough thing to be made. If I personally, I think for the Flyers, what I would do, what I would do is I'd find who the heck you want the next coach to be. And then you've got to give that next coach some time because you're going to have to overhaul the roster to fit that next coach.
So that's kind of where I'm at on that.
I don't think you build a roster and then try to just go out and find a coach to fit
that
roster.
No, I agree.
I think you find the coach and you say, we're going to give you some, we're not giving you a year and a half and firing you. Like, you're going to get some time to get this team to where you want it to be. It's got to be a coach that they fully believe in. But I think you go out and you find the coach and then you build from there. And whatever roster moves you have to make, you go out and try and make.
So I'm posing a proposal to you that we should do a show about who the next coach should be for some of these teams.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I think that would be a good show. What do you think?
That would be interesting. I'd like to see some young coaches get chances.
Yeah, me too.
I'd like to see, rather than the same guys getting recycled over and over, I'd like to see some young coaches get chances.
Yeah, me too. Or some different type of coaches that are kind of outside the normal realm of coaches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm with you on that. So, but some coaching changes for the good with the Boudreau change so far in Vancouver, and that's been really good too. So,
we'll see what Winnipeg does now.
Right, because
Dave Lowry is taking over, by the way. It's funny because
hired him.
Dave Lowry, who's the interim coach now, his son plays on the team. Adam, imagine that's like kids grow up playing sports and the dad somebody's dad is the coach and
somebody's dad has to be the coach.
Even when you get to even in high school and stuff, kids play for their dad. Like they're actually at my high school now, the football coach, his son is on the team. Like at lower levels like that, you're used to having a kid playing for their father. That's a normal thing. But you don't really see it when you actually get to the pros. That's kind of wild. You don't see that very often where Adam Lowry is going to be playing for his dad, but not in, minor midget or something, but actually playing for his dad in the NHL. That's got to be really cool for them.
I know. And what was really weird, or maybe not weird, but cool for Montreal is Keith Primo's son was the goaltender in Montreal for the game against the Flyers.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Caden.
All right. That's some irony right there for you, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. That's actually really cool.
Right. Oh, man. So I think the last of our top stories is the fact that we could probably just glaze over this.
Yeah, we can talk about it quickly.
Ovechkin ties the power play goal record.
Yep.
And Stamkos gets his 900th point.
Yes.
So that's been the positives of the week.
Yeah, Stammer gets 900, which means he's gonna hit 1,000 as As long as he doesn't have a catastrophic injury, he's going to hit 1,000.
Probably.
So Stammer's still rolling. He's having a great year.
Great year. Oh my gosh.
He's having a great year.
It's like, it's amazing when, he's fully healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what a healthy Steven Stamkos looks like.
I mean, gosh, what a difference being healthy makes.
Yeah. It's unfortunate we've seen so little of a healthy Steven Stamkos, because I really feel like we've missed out on one of the best players of this generation.
I agree. But as you can see, he's still
the talent's still there. It's just the health hasn't been, and now it's back. Yep. And we're seeing him, play at this elite level. He's gonna be
liked him.
I love Stamkos. He's gonna be one of the greatest what ifs. Is like what could have been if he had stayed healthy and didn't have all the injury issues.
Okay, but you know what though? I don't really think you could say a what if for him because he still won the cups.
Yeah, but imagine if he didn't get hurt. He's got 900 points now. If he had never gotten injured, he'd probably be pushing towards 1,200.
All right, okay, I got you.
He would be putting up like generational numbers.
Yeah, like McDavid numbers.
He would be putting up generational numbers if he hadn't missed so much time with injury.
I'm with you. All right, okay, I got you that. All right.
I really think that for this generation, we're gonna look back. And he's going to be one of those guys that we talk about like, man, he was so good. But the numbers may not immediately jump out because he missed so much time.
Almost like a Peter Forsberg.
Yeah.
Like he was just so good.
And then he tailed off at the end and missed a lot of games.
Because of his foot, his ankle or whatever. He wasn't able to get it right, wasn't able to skate. And,
After he left the Avalanche, it was never really the same with Peter Forsberg. And you got, again, a big what could have been had he stayed healthy.
I mean, my gosh, the talent was there.
Oh, the talent was unbelievable.
Man,
I feel like Stamkos is like that in a lot of ways.
Okay. All right. I got you. Because I'll tell you what, man, I've seen Forsberg do some really
he was filthy.
Sick.
Filthy. Okay. But he tailed off so bad at the end.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I would put him in the same. I would put Tavares in that same filthiness with that lacrosse over the net pass that he did. Oh my God! Or Zegras.
Yeah, Trevor Zegras.
Zegras, that when he did that lacrosse type pass over the net for the assist.
Yep.
To get the goal, like, all right, yeah, that's a different level of filth. That's Forsberg level of filth. That's how sick he was with the puck, man. I mean,
I mean, he had 116 points in 1995-96. But he never was that the only full season he played? Yeah. 1995-96 was the only full season that Peter Forsberg ever played in the NHL.
Yeah.
The next year he played 65 games, 72, 78, so almost a full season in 99. Had 97 points.
There you go.
Only played 49 games in 2000, 73 in 01, 75 in 03, 39 in 04. Imagine if he had been healthy and played the full, again, Stamkos, I feel the same way.
Okay.
Imagine if he was healthy all the way through, what numbers he could have put up.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. For sure. So.
All right. Well, that's top stories, and we spent over an hour on top stories. So we'll get into the rest of the show here. All the segments coming up. We are gonna have a commercial break first. We're gonna be hearing from Manscaped. You guys can learn all about their product and what the offer is with Manscaped. You can get 20% off and free shipping, and we'll let you know all about it here when we come back. We'll have Top Shelf. We'll go through our power rankings and get into our regular weekly segments. But first, here's a word from our channel sponsor.
Ho, 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 gentlemen. The holidays have come early this year as Manscaped has the gift that keeps on trimming. Santa's feeling when it's coming out of the top of your trousers, and that's why Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming, have you covered this holiday season. Now available in your country, join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped to keep their trees trimmed and ornaments polished. Go to manscaped.com and use the promo code STEELFLYERS to get 20% off your entire order plus free shipping. Jingle balls to the walls, fellas, and listen up. It's time to kill two birds with one trimmer and get yourself and your lady a gift. And I'm talking about the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. Inside the Performance Package 4.0, you'll find the Signature Lawnmower 4.0. This electric trimmer is proprietary advanced skin-safe technology to reduce cuts on your nuts. It's also waterproof so you can use it in the shower. It's like a gift to your partner with less mess. Take care of the family jewels with great tools from Manscaped, as your boys are bathed in skin-safe technology to reduce cuts and nicks on your look good in the bedroom with the Performance Package by Manscaped. The Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 also includes a Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver, an anti-chafing ball deodorant moisturizer and toner. This hygiene bundle also comes with a pair of Manscaped anti-chafing boxers that is the perfect wrapping for your presents. The Manscaped Performance Package comes with all the tools to clean up all those delicate areas. Included in this new package is the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, which is waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360-degree rotary dual-blade system. Nobody, not even Santa, wants hairs under their chimney. Manscaped is going beyond the groin with their new refined cologne, which offers a light yet masculine pleasing fragrance that'll leave your lady on the naughty list this year. It's made with all hypoallergenic ingredients that are vegan, cruelty-free, dye-free, and paraffin-free. 'Tis the season to load up on products from Manscaped. So get yourself, your dad, your brother, and your friends the best gift of all, the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the promo code STEELFLYERS at manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code STEELFLYERS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with the code STEELFLYERS, STEELFLYERS. Clean up your nuts and make Santa proud this year.
And we are back, and it is time to get into our segments here, starting with Top Shelf, our power rankings, best teams in the NHL. Steel, might as well get right into it here and get going. And
You got it.
Number 5, who do you got?
Number 5. So the list kind of, all right, no, it didn't kind of. It majorly changed.
Yeah.
From
Massive
last
difference
week.
this week, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So our lists are almost exactly the same with the exception of who we have here at the bottom.
Flip-flop 4 and 5, yeah.
Right,
But we have all the
right.
same teams.
Exactly. And probably for the same reasons. I just felt that the number 4 team was playing a little better than the number 5 team for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I kind of have them up there. So my number 5 team on the Top Shelf Power Rankings is the New York Rangers. Holy smokes.
Mm-hmm.
Where is this? 19-7-3 for 41 points?
Yep.
Come on. Look, we knew New York was going to be seriously. I mean, come on. Panarin, Zibanejad, Fox. Then you got, goaltending. You got guys that they got from Tampa Bay last year for this year. You know what I mean? So this team, to me, as far as I'm concerned, they should be at this point. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I've been really, really impressed with the Rangers. And Shesterkin's been out; he's been injured, and they've had Georgiev in, and they're still winning games.
Yeah,
they're still winning games, and he was really struggling at the start of the season, but he's playing a lot better now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've been really impressed with the Rangers. Why don't you do your number 4 team, and then I'll do my 4 and 5 because we have the same teams, just
they're
flipped.
just flip-flopped. Yeah. So my number 4 team is the Washington Capitals. Okay, and the reason why I have these guys a little bit higher than the Rangers is because they have. I just feel that Washington has just played a little better.
Mm-hmm.
I just I mean, it doesn't really matter. They have the same amount of points, but
Yeah.
if you look at the record, right? Washington has played what, 2 less games?
Let me see. Washington has played 29, and the Rangers have played 29.
Oh, so they both played
Yeah,
29
they both
games.
played 29 games. They both have 41 points.
Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't really matter how you get to that point. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I just felt that the Washington has beaten higher quality teams, maybe.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's still little separation here. They're right on top of each other.
It's kind of one of those. Flip
Yeah.
a coin. And, okay.
Absolutely.
You know.
I have Washington at 5 and the Rangers at 4.
Yeah.
And the only reason I put the Rangers at 4 instead of 5 was they have more wins.
Yeah.
That was the tiebreaker for me. I was looking at the standings. Everything was almost exactly the same. And I just looked at the win totals, and the Rangers have 19 and the Capitals have 17. So I was like, all right, Rangers at 4, Capitals at 5. That's my tiebreaker, and I just went with it. But there's so little separating a lot of these teams. I mean,
Yeah.
they're all playing really well. I mean,
especially the Metropolitan.
Yeah, the Metro division is fantastic, especially at the top. And we have a whole list of 5 teams here for our top 5 teams, and every single one of them either has 41 or 42 points. There's so little separation here that it's just nitpicking to try and place them one over the other. Like I just took the win total and put the Rangers at 4 and the Capitals at 5.
See, I think I was looking at the fact that the Rangers have 7 losses and the Caps only have 5.
Have 5, yeah.
Right. So
Capitals have not lost in regulation very much.
That's kind of why I've put the Capitals at 4 and the Rangers at 5, just because they have 7 overtimes. So that's still getting a point.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so, okay. It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's nitpicking, it's splitting hairs,
it's very
flipping
much
a coin. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So let's get into, since we, look, they're the same the rest of the way here.
Yes.
Right. So
yes, they are.
Number 3 is
Carolina Hurricanes.
27-1,
41 points, also 41 points, just like the Capitals and Rangers. But Carolina has 20 wins, so they have even one more than the Rangers, which is why I put them one spot ahead of the Rangers, even though they have the same number of points. Carolina also technically leads the Metro. They're in first place. Again, the top 3 teams all have 41 points, so they're basically tied. Carolina also has a plus 29 goal differential, which is, I think, the best in the Eastern Conference.
And I think it's 4 better than the next lowest team.
Yeah, Calgary actually plus 29 goal differential is the best in the league, not just the Eastern Conference. And they are, Calgary's number 2 at plus 25.
Right.
But Carolina's number 1 at plus 29. So I put Carolina in at 3, 20 wins, great goal differential, leading the division, same number of points, but I got them. I think they're the best out of those 3 teams. And they've played. They had actually hit a bump in the road, but then they've played better recently.
Yeah,
they had a little stretch there where they were struggling, but they've gotten right back on track.
Exactly. And like one of the other teams, I think that especially like with Carolina, how they came out of the gates flying, and Florida came out of the gates flying. Florida's kind of hitting that little bump in the road now too.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Where they're kind of hitting some adversity and losing some games and things of that nature. So, but Carolina, I'm with you. They have not given me any reason to knock them off of this list so far. And keeping them right smack in the middle at number 3 for me as well. I also feel they were better than Washington, New York, no matter what. So that's why I have them at number 3 as well.
All right. Next up, number 2. Who do you got coming in at 2?
This was the first of the big moves from last week, because I had Toronto, I believe, at 5th. Last week, and they made a big jump up to 2nd. So the Toronto Maple Leafs are now 2nd. They have just as many wins as Carolina, but they have one more point.
Yeah.
at 42.
Yep.
They went on a nice little hot streak there, won quite a lot of games. I've been really, really impressed with how well Toronto has been playing the last, say, 3 weeks.
They're 7-2-1 in their last 10 games.
Exactly.
Yep.
So Toronto's starting to put it together,
Yep.
starting to play as a team. Their penalty kill is playing well. Their PK is playing well. Their goaltending. Hey, Toronto with goaltending. What?
Mm-hmm. That's right. A game changer for them is the level of goaltending that they're getting.
Right. So that to me is why they are number 2.
I also have Toronto in at number 2. They are 28-2. They've got 42 points. They are tied for the league lead in points. The other team with them is the team that we're going to talk about next in at number 1. And to me, the only reason I have Toronto down at 2 instead of 1 is that they've played one more game than the team that we're going to talk about next. So the game in hand. So I guess we can go into number 1 now, Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
We both have Tampa at number 1. Tampa's played one less game to get to the same number of points. So
exactly.
That's why I put Tampa at 1.
And they have less wins.
Yeah,
less
Tampa
losses.
they have one less
but
win
they have
than Toronto.
Less losses, though. They only have 6 losses in regulation.
And Toronto
has 8.
Yep.
Carolina has 7. New York has 7. The only one that's not is Washington, but they don't have as many wins or as many points.
Yep.
Right? So that's exactly why I have Tampa Bay. Plus, as of late, with Stammer getting his 900th point and Vasilevsky just standing on his bloody head the last couple of games. I mean, Tampa Bay has been playing pretty good.
Yeah, they had that really bad loss to Ottawa, but other than that, that was an afternoon game.
That was a Brian Elliott start in that one too.
Yes, it was. And that was an afternoon game, which sometimes are throwaways.
And it was a Brian Elliott start, so that wasn't even a Vasilevsky. It didn't even count.
Yeah,
so.
Afternoon games get like that sometimes where you just have to throw them away and say, I don't know what that was, but we're not going to do it again.
Exactly. So we had some big movers this week, didn't we, John?
Tampa's moved way up. Toronto's moved up. We had quite a few
new
teams
blood come
down.
in.
Yeah, Rangers get on this list, I believe, for the first time this year.
Yes, sir.
Edmonton moved off.
Florida moved off.
Florida moved completely off. They've had COVID issues, but they've really struggled their last couple games.
Exactly, and so has Calgary. But they've also had COVID issues as well,
and then
too.
Went into their COVID issues. Minnesota dropped off the list as well. We both had Minnesota.
They did.
They just lost to Buffalo.
I know.
Minnesota's been such a weird team this year, but Minnesota was like still decently close. Yeah, see, they have 40 points. So they just missed getting on.
I think they're like 6th or 7th.
Yeah, Minnesota. I would probably Minnesota if this list was extended one more spot. I think Minnesota would be there.
Yeah, all right, I do. Okay, I would give them the honorable mention.
But they dropped off from last week, so we had quite a bit of movement with this list this week. A lot's changed.
Exactly. And now this is what I can't wait to get into here because this is where we're going to get a chance to hear about the game that John called the best game of last week.
Oh, yeah.
And John, lead off with this one, sir. This was a game that John got to call, and I'm going to tell you something. If you guys don't get a chance to listen to John call, you're missing out. He is one of the best. That's why we call him the GOAT. If you're not listening to him call a game, then you're missing out. And I believe you've even had some opportunities to audition for some folks too, didn't you?
Yes, yeah. Tuesday night, I auditioned for an app called Colorcast for a actual paid commentary position. I don't know how that I haven't heard back yet, so I don't know what the end result of that is. But Tuesday night was the audition on that, and then Wednesday I was back on YouTube doing my usual thing, and holy cow, I barely had a voice by the end of this game because this was absolutely nuts. I don't remember This was the first regular season game like this, certainly this season.
I agree.
And I don't remember anything that I can, off the top of my head, I can't come up with another game that I can really directly compare this one to from the regular season. I mean, obviously playoffs are a whole heightened level of intensity, but as far as regular season goes, this was just off the chain. Washington and Chicago on Wednesday night, and on the first period was scoreless. Like after the first game, or the first period, I was like, this is going to be another kind of snoozer one that I'm going to have to try and, somehow make exciting. Well,
you know what it sounds like? It sounds like the St. Louis Winnipeg game that we did.
Yeah, back at the beginning of the year. See, I think this one stuck out even more than that to me.
Okay, because that one has the same. That was the same thing. Was scoreless at the beginning, and then it exploded.
Yeah, but this one, like I don't remember another game that just exploded the way that this one did. Scoreless first period, not a whole lot going on. Was like, oh boy, this is going to be another like semi-boring one that isn't going to be that good. And then the second period came along, and oh my God, what just happened? So Washington opens the scoring on the power play. They go up 1-0. Capitals, a lot of people thought were going to win the game, so it's like, okay, Caps in the lead. All of a sudden, Chicago scores 3 goals in 34 seconds. And this is where, I mean, it just went nuts. 3 goals in 34 seconds, 2 of them on the power play. So the first one was a 5-on-3. The second one was on a regular 5-on-4, like, had to be like less than 15 seconds later. And then the third one came off the ensuing face-off, back 5-on-5, and they went down and scored again. And just like that, 3 straight goals. Chicago goes up 3-1. And if that wasn't crazy enough, Washington gets one back right at the end of the second. Like less than a minute to go, right at the end of the second period.
Yeah.
Daniel Sprong scores, and all of a sudden it's 3-2. So they go to the intermission 3-2. Chicago still has the lead. Big third period coming up. And then all of a sudden, bang, goal. It's I forget. Did Chicago make it 4-2? No, I think Washington tied it 3-3. Then Chicago made it 4-3. And then anyway, Washington ties the game at 4 with 3 seconds left.
Oh, man.
3 seconds left. It thought the game was over. Like, it was coming right down to the end, but Chicago had the 4-3 lead. Thought the game was over. Washington scores with 3 seconds left in the third period to tie the game. Forces overtime. And then Chicago ends up winning in overtime 5-4.
What? Wait, what?
It was...
Wait, what? Huh, what?
It was nuts. The second and third periods were absolutely nuts. It was one of the most fun regular season games that I can ever remember.
Also,
and it was just great. A wild game. Easily for me the best game of this past week, and will probably be one of if not the best regular season game all year this year for me. It was just unbelievable action. The second and third periods were wild. The scoring was crazy. And then obviously the late period goals and it going to overtime and all of that, just, I mean, it was unreal. So a lot of fun with that one on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I can't even top that. So I'm going to try though. My game was a couple of days earlier. Mm-hmm. Almost as exciting. Not quite as, exciting because I didn't quite have the person calling the game as we did for the Washington-Chicago game. So, but my game was the LA Kings versus the Tampa Bay Lightning on the 13th of December. And man, I'll tell you what, I was deeply impressed with how well Jonathan Quick played.
Oh, he was so good in that game.
Oh my, the saves that I seen him, he looked like he was back in his Cup days.
Yep.
Like he was doing the splits, the one save where it went off his toe and then he snagged it in his glove.
Yep.
While he was doing the splits, I was like,
He's having a great year.
That's the winner for game of the week for me.
Yeah, LA hung with Tampa really well.
But it was a great goaltending matchup because Vasilevsky just did not let anything in. I mean, they were lucky to get the goals that they did. Okay, they really were. They were very well placed shots. One of them was right up over top. I'm sorry, of Vazzy's glove hand.
Yep.
Okay, and he's been suspect there occasionally, as all goaltenders tend to be. But that was where one of the goals went through. All right, and it was just back and forth, great chances, great defense. There was equal time spent in each offensive zone. At one point there, it looked like LA was completely out shooting Tampa Bay. And it's like, you know how Tampa Bay is, like, you can outshoot them 25-1 and it doesn't matter.
They'll make you pay with that one.
Yep. See, right.
And that is Tampa to a T.
And that's exactly what happened. Stamkos on the power play,
yep.
And that's what did it. And the game got tied and went to overtime. And Tampa Bay was just able to take care of business and win that game in overtime. But I'll tell you what, I thought that Quick and Vasilevsky looked great in that game. And I just thought it was one of those very exciting games to watch because you got to see, like, Doughty score. Right. You know, and you got to see LA played really well and you got to see Tampa Bay get tested.
Yep.
Right. And that was, to me, that's always good when teams test you, when teams bring out the best in you. That to me always makes for a good game. And I felt this was my best game of the week. So there you go. Tampa Bay wins 3-2 in overtime.
Yeah, that was another great one. And we both had overtime games. So
yeah,
obviously,
go figure.
They were close ones that came right down to the end there. But those are our best games of the week for this past week. And now we're going to take a look at some individual players who have had great weeks. As we get into 3 stars of the week, we'll get going here. Number 3. Well, our number 3 is the same, but the other 2 are different. So we had a lot of good candidates for this week.
It was tough.
It was tough because there were a lot of guys with very similar point production outputs. So
exactly. That's what made it tough.
Yeah, definitely. But let's go number 3. We'll get into it. Who's 3? This is 3 for both of us.
Okay. So since it's both of us, I'll just yeah. Okay. UC Saros. For Nashville has been playing very well as of late.
They're great. We're going to talk about them in a future segment.
Because of him.
Yes.
Okay. Listen to some of this craziness. In 3 games played, he's 3-0-0 with a .95 save percentage. He has a goals against average of 1.3, 1 shutout. He has stopped 85 of 89 shots. Yeah, that's getting it done in 3. And the fact that he's at 3 games and only has 89 shots.
Yeah, that's good defense in front of him.
That's good defense in front. And then, of course,
right about 30 shots a game. Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, there are a lot of goalies that face upper 30s, 40 shots. And, yeah, that's not bad. To be under 90 shots over 3 games that's a good team in front of them. That's a team that's playing really well right now.
Exactly. And it shows, and he is one of the main reasons why.
He's fantastic.
Oh, man. I mean, I've always liked him. I always felt if given the opportunity and given the chance and been on the right team.
Yeah, I'm glad they kept him. Even when he was, ready, they still had Pekka Rinne. They could have easily, stuck with Rinne for another extra year or 2 and traded him off. But I'm really glad they kept him because I agree. He is a very good goaltender.
I agree 100%. And that's why he's our 3rd star of the week. Yes. Hey, go figure. Yes. We got a goalie in, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
We always like to try to get a goalie in.
Yeah, we always try to. There have been a couple weeks where we haven't, but we got a goalie in this week.
That's right. This is a little bit, when you look at the glaring number of .955 save percentage and 85 out of 89 shots, okay. Yeah,
if you're stopping over 95% of shots against, that is great goaltending.
Yeah, you're gonna be on the list. Trust me. All right, John. Who do you got at number 2 for your 3rd star of the week?
Number 2, I have Andre Burakovsky from the Colorado Avalanche. Unfortunately, Colorado now is shut down through Christmas, through the break.
Yeah.
But Burakovsky this past week lit it up in the goal scoring department. 3 games played, 5 goals, 1 assist, 6 points, a +4 rating, and one of those goals was a game winner. And big reason why Colorado is, been able to keep winning this year and been able to overcome all the adversity that they have this season. Burakovsky's having a solid year, and he just had a great week when it comes to putting the puck in the net. 5 goals in 3 games. I wish I could do that.
Yeah, right? I mean, come on. And a game winner? Yeah, man. But he's also one of the reasons why Colorado is such a dangerous team, because they're able to just roll with a number of players. And, it's a shame now that they're going to be missing some games here. So, but great player to have for number 2, man. Great player to have for number 2.
Definitely. Who do you got in at second spot?
Second spot, I'm going to stay out west, and I'm going to go with Vegas Golden Knight. I'm going to go with Chandler Stevenson. He did not score a single goal in 3 games played. However, he still has 7 points. Ask me how he has those 7 points. Well, in 18 minutes of ice time, he's got 7 assists in 3 games. Come on. 7 assists in 3 games. All right.
That's how you set your teammates up right there.
I mean, and he's a +4.
Yep.
Okay, with a little, he's just about 19 minutes of ice time a game. And to have that kind of output as far as assist is concerned, I had to put him on the list. Look, this was tough. There was a lot of guys at 7 points, a lot of guys, you know what I mean? And I could have picked any number one of them, you know what I mean? But this guy here, I just felt 7 assists. That's how he has his 7 points. Not goals, but assists. So I went with Chandler Stevenson as my number 2 star of the week. Who do you got, John, as your number 2?
Burakovsky was my number 2.
Okay, I'm sorry. Who do you got as your number 1?
Chandler Stevenson's teammate, Max Pacioretty, with the Vegas Golden Knights. 5 goals, 2 assists, 7 points, a +5 rating, and 1 game-winning goal for Pacioretty. What a week for him.
What a week for Vegas.
Vegas had a great week, and Pacioretty's lighting it up on the score sheet. Obviously, one of their top goal scorers, and he is playing like it right now. And they've needed that. They've needed him back producing, back healthy. One of the many guys for Vegas that has missed time this year, but now they're starting to get healthy again, and Carlson's back, and Pacioretty's back, and Stone is back, and they're starting to get a healthy lineup again, and Vegas is winning a lot more games now with that healthy lineup. And Pacioretty, much like Stevenson, a big reason why, 7 points, plus player, game-winning goal, doing what he needs to do to help this team win. And Vegas had a great week, Stevenson had a great week, and Max Pacioretty had a great week.
And I'll tell you what, the last guy that had a great week was Drake Batharson from the Ottawa Senators.
Yep.
Now, look, I had to put him on here as a number 1 because Ottawa's not getting a lot of love. And in 3 games played, he has 1 goal and 6 assists for 7 points.
Yep.
As a +5, he has 2 power play points with just about 17.5 minutes of ice time per game.
Yep.
1 goal and 6 assists in 3 games played for 7 points. To be up there with 7 points for having a week like that.
Yep.
I'm going to give it to Drake Batharson of the Ottawa Senators, and give the Ottawa Senators a little bit of love, because they were coming off of the COVID, right, and played the last couple of games.
Yep.
And so that's kind of, one of the other reasons why I kind of put him up there. But 2, look, he's 7 points.
Yeah.
And he's a +5 with 2 power play points.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Drake Batharson.
That Ottawa team, I'll tell you what, they don't need much. And
no, I think they need a long-term solution in goal. It's not Matt Murray. But they need a long-term solution in goal, and I think they just need another year or 2 on these kids, and that's going to be a scary team. They're not far off.
maybe a veterans center.
Yeah, I think another center would help, and they certainly need some help on the back end. But they've
Yeah.
got kids coming up. They've got Sanderson.
No, I'm with you.
They've got Sanderson. They've got Bernard Docker coming. You know, they're
Mm-hmm.
not there yet, but once they are, that's going to really round out that decor. And
Exactly.
this Ottawa team is going to have a boatload of talent in another year or two.
And if you sprinkle a veteran center,
Yeah,
from
you could have
say,
a really dangerous team.
from say, I believe it's Backhurst, Ontario. Anyway, I'm not mentioning any hints or anything.
No.
Drew. Anyhow, what do you say we move on to
Hottest
the
and
three
coldest.
hottest and three coldest teams? What do you think?
Yeah, time to go into it. And it looks like our hottest teams list is exactly the same, so we can just go through it here.
Who do you got at number
different
3?
ways. We have different ways, criteria for how we order these.
Yeah,
and
but
we still ended up with the same list. So that means that there's a very clear top 3 this week.
I would have to agree with you on that 100%.
Yep.
So who do you got at number 3?
Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yes, sir.
7-2-1 and on a 5-game winning streak, which is the second longest in the NHL. Playing great, 7 out of 10, 5 in a row. Beat I did them Tuesday night against Montreal. They beat Montreal, took care of business in that one as they should, and they're just rolling right now, playing really well. No Jake Gensel, doesn't really seem to have much of an effect. They're getting quality play out of all of their lines. That's one thing that I've noticed with Pittsburgh, and really stood out to me in the Montreal game was like Crosby wasn't jumping off the screen, Zucker wasn't jumping off the screen. It was guys like Evan Rodriguez. It was guys like actually Kasperi Kapanen played really, really well.
Thank you. That's who I was gonna say.
Teddy Bluger had a good game. Brian Boyle, unfortunately, he's injured now, but Boyle had a good game against Montreal. Like, they were getting guys up to the top of the lineup, down on the 4th line. It didn't matter. They were getting production from everybody, and that's a really good sign for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Exactly. And Yari.
Yeah, I mean, great in goal. He's having a heck of a year.
Man, what a difference, I guess, a year makes.
Well, he kind of got clowned in the playoffs, but he hasn't let that affect him and hasn't, let that damage him moving forward, and he's come back stronger than ever this year. This is the best he's ever looked at the NHL level.
Now, the team is playing a little bit better in front of him.
Yeah, no, they're definitely playing well in front of him, but he's putting up unbelievable numbers.
Yeah, no, I agree, 100%. I think he's one of the main reasons why they are on this 5-game winning streak.
He's bounced back well from what happened in the playoffs last year.
Mm-hmm. And guess what? That's who I have at my number 3 hottest team too, is Pittsburgh, because they are tied with the second most wins at number 5.
Yep.
So you win 5 games in a row, you're doing something right. And
they're
they're still without Malkin.
Yeah, no, Malkin hasn't come back yet, and they're doing it without him.
And they're doing it without Gensel too.
Yeah, imagine what happens when
list. We had him on the hottest player. He was one of our 3 stars a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and then he got hurt.
Right? So, I mean, when you're missing those kind of pieces and you're still able to lean on a little bit of Jeff Carter and a little bit of the rest of the team to get it done, hey, man.
Kapanen stepped up big time.
Oh, man. I have been very impressed with him ever since he's been in juniors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got to see his dad play.
Oh, yeah.
So he has that same kind of spark plug energy that his dad did.
Yep.
He has that battery or that motor that just doesn't turn off.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Really talented and great speed.
Oh my gosh, yeah, exactly. So, hey, how about that, Pittsburgh at number 3, giving them some love.
Yes.
How about if we give our number 2 team some love?
Vancouver. Who would have thought that 3 weeks ago? The Vancouver Canucks have won 6 in a row, as we talked about earlier.
Oh yeah.
And 8-2-0 in their last 10 games.
Yeah. Who'd have thunk?
All of a sudden, they're right back within striking distance of that wild card playoff spot.
Yeah.
This is a team headed in the right direction, and obviously we spent a lot of time early in the show talking about Bruce Boudreau and what he's done with them since taking over. 6 in a row now, and we'll see. I mean, it's still active. That could go even beyond that. Could be 7, 8, maybe 9. Who knows?
Who knows?
But Vancouver's playing excellent. Like I said earlier during Top Stories, it's the same roster. It looks like a completely different team.
It does.
Looks
But
like
that's
a
the crazy part.
different team.
Yeah. It's like the coach came in and started putting the players that he has and started taking advantage of their skills and putting them in positions of being in successful positions and putting them in the right places to be there for the right times. And yeah, I mean, it's like they kind of needed that one guy to come in and be like, he just needed to move the pieces around a little bit and put him in a little bit of a different spot. And hey, look at that. They work. So Vancouver 6 in a row, 8-2-0 in their last 10. Holy smokes. Can't deny that, man. Really good for them. Glad to see that. Like to see the fact that they got Bruce Boudreau come in and take care of business and be the new coach up there, man. That has been a major step in the right direction for them. Let's just see if they can keep it going.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that leaves number 1. Who is it?
Nashville Predators.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the same record, 8-2-0 last 10.
8-2-0, win 6.
6 wins, right, in a row, right? But man, Nashville has just come from where has Nashville come from to just win 6 in a row?
Second place now in the Central Division.
Okay, like I said, where has Nashville come from to win 6 in a row? Right? Where is this kind of suddenly now Saros is playing out of his freaking gourd with a 9.55 save percentage over the last 3 games. I mean, we looked at Nashville and we're like,
yeah,
maybe.
I was very on them going into the season. They've been way better than I've expected.
So exactly, good for them, man. Good for them. 6 wins in a row, playing really well. Saros playing really well, getting it done down there in the Music City. Way to go to Nashville. This is the first time they have been on a hottest team list of ours, I think, ever.
Certainly first time this season. I'm not sure
Definitely
about last year.
First time this season for sure.
I think they might have made it last because they were terrible for the first half and then they got really hot at the remember the second half they climbed the standings.
All right, okay.
I think while they were climbing the standings, they might have been on a few times last year.
Maybe.
But definitely the first time Nashville's been on this season, and they are really impressing me.
Exactly. Especially the last 10 games and who they've won against.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's what's making it more impressive, I think. So, all right, now we covered the positive side and we covered the hot teams. Let's go to the other side and go to the cold teams. And I'm sure it's probably getting a little bit colder up there now in the Boston area as it is getting down here in my neck of the woods too. So the top 3 coldest teams in the league, and gosh, man, I think our list is pretty near the same.
Just in a bit of a different order. Similar. We have one difference, but it's similar.
One difference. All right, so you go first with your number 3 team.
Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah.
2-7-1 in their last 10. They've lost their last 2 on the current streak. This was a team that early in the year we were talking about as being one of the biggest surprises with how good they were. And, they were a team that a lot of us going in was expecting to kind of be a last place team and didn't think they were going to really be able to do anything. And then they got out to this really good start and they were in a playoff spot and we were like, whoa, what's how's Columbus doing this? Well, Columbus has come back down to earth, and now they've really struggled here the last few weeks.
Yeah,
and only 2 wins in their last 10. That's not going to help you get into the playoffs, no matter who you are. So
no, that's crashing back
Columbus
down to earth.
Columbus is number 3 on my coldest teams.
Yeah, I can understand that, and I had this was tough. But my number 3 team is the New Jersey Devils.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since that convincing win against Philadelphia.
Yeah,
What happened?
It's been all downhill from there.
Like, what happened?
Yeah.
I mean, they looked like a really good team. Now, okay, they were playing against Philadelphia, but then it was like the tires just fell off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 4 straight losses. New Jersey Devils, my number 3 coldest team with 4 straight losses.
They're my number 2 coldest team.
Go figure.
Because just like Columbus, they are also 2-7-1 in their last 10. And they're on a 4-game losing streak as opposed to Columbus's 2, so they got 1 spot higher on the list. Devils really struggling here. Another team that, kind of got off to a good start and was looking a little bit better than a lot of us thought they were going to be, and now the wheels have kind of come off, and they've drifted back into more of what we were kind of expecting.
True, but Hughes has missed time.
Oh yeah, they've had injuries and they've had guys out of the lineup, but I picked New Jersey to finish 7th in the division, and right now they are 7th in the division. So they have fallen back to what I was kind of expecting them to be.
Okay, well there you have it then. At least they're following right on cue, so there you go. That makes it good when they follow it right on cue. So all right, let's see here. I have for my number 2 coldest team. Right? That's where we are, right?
Yes.
All right. 2 coldest team for me is the Dallas Stars. The reason why I have them in here is because they have lost 4 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
As we said, our criteria is slightly different, but they still haven't won that many games in their last 10. And the fact that they've lost 4 in a row, the fact that they put Hudobin up on waivers, and Ben Bishop announced his retirement.
Yeah, Bishop's gone, which that's not at this point. We kind of the writing was on the wall.
Yeah,
he had missed a full year,
and he missed all of last year.
Well, he missed like a full calendar year, not just season.
Okay,
he missed a full calendar year, and at that point, there's not many guys that come back from something like that.
Nope. And so that's who I have as my number 2 coldest team, with 4 losses in a row there.
They're really struggling. They had a huge winning streak before that.
I
think that they had like 6 wins in a row, and then they followed up with 4 straight losses. So that's not helping Dallas's playoff push.
Ooh, boy, talk about up and down. Holy moly.
Complete roller coaster.
Right? Completely 180-degree difference there, too. Oh, my God. All right.
All right.
Ooh, all right. Here we go. Number 1. It's the same for both of us.
It is the same. Yes, it's the Arizona Coyotes.
It's like what we expected them to be, where we expected them to be.
I feel like they haven't been on the list for a while though.
They haven't.
They were playing better, but not now. They've lost 6 in a row now. 2 8-0 in their last 10, so 2 8-0 is not good. You want to win more than 2 out of 10 games, that's for sure. And to lose 6 straight, that stinks.
Yeah, are they at least at double-digit wins yet, or still in single-digit?
No chance. They're at 5 wins.
Wow.
That was even I thought it was going to be like 7 or 8. I knew
so they have 5 wins.
They have 5 wins. I thought they had more than that. I thought they were going to have 7 or 8. I knew they weren't at double digits, but I thought they had more than 5. I'm looking at the standings right now. They are 5-21-2.
Oh,
that is abysmal.
That's number 1 draft pick right there, buddy.
Maybe those playing better stretches weren't quite as good as I thought.
No, probably not.
Oh my God. Wow. 5-21-2.
Ouch. That's bad. So
all right, the Shane Wright sweepstakes are on, and Arizona is buying a lot of the raffle tickets.
By far in the lead.
Yeah. They are emptying the wallet on the Shane Wright raffle tickets.
That's for sure. They're getting as many tickets into that lottery bucket as they can.
Absolutely. Holy cow. 5 wins. Yikes.
Man.
All right. Well, there's the coldest teams, and obviously there are some teams that are not playing well right now.
Oh my gosh, man. Oh my, that's pretty bad. So, all right, man. Do you want to get into it?
Sure, we'll go.
Yeah, we'll go. All right. Let's get into the game picks for Saturday. These are games that are just for Saturday, the 18th. John and I like to have some fun.
Yep.
So we pick who we think is going to win, and then we see how we did the last week and how good or bad or ugly it was. Oh, wow. There's more updated news now.
I got to update the ones that aren't actually happening.
Great.
As far as I know. I know these aren't. I don't know if anything's been added to the list over the last 2 hours. But I know for a fact that there's at least 3 games that were supposed to be played tomorrow that now are not, and I don't know if they've even added to this, honestly.
Okay. All right, so thank you for the update. Well, let's give you what we did last week, last week fell under the ugly list because it was bad. Nope, not good. We were both 5-7. The teams that you picked to win that I differed on.
Yep.
And we flip-flopped on those twice. So it didn't matter. We evened out in the end. We were both 5-7.
Yep.
Yeah. So on the year, we are both 60-45.
Okay, we're still pretty good above.
Still pretty good. I'll say that's a 15-game difference there on that one. So because of the larger slate of Friday games, the Saturday games have gotten a little bit less than what we've been doing in the past. And now with 3 games off, this is going to be a much faster pick here. So we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games.
Senators and Flyers needs to be added.
All right, let me do
Sens, Flyers, Blackhawks, Stars is on there, right? Yeah, Chicago, Dallas. See, this is the world we live in now. We have to check the schedule as.
So what is it
now?
What is it? Flyers and
Ottawa's at Philadelphia at 7 p.m.
Okay.
So we have Leafs, Canucks, Sens, Flyers, Kings, Hurricanes, Blackhawks, Stars, Devils, Red Wings, and Oilers, Kraken. Those are the games that are happening, at least as of now.
Okay.
This is the world. Right. This is the world we live in now, everybody.
Hey, that update it on the fly.
We have to literally update it on the fly because stuff is
changing right now as we speak.
You never know what's actually going to happen.
Exactly. So let's get into this here, buddy. Let's lightning round this here while we got it.
Lightning round this.
Okay, so I'm gonna say the teams. John and I are gonna pick the picks, and then we'll go on. So this game is gonna supposedly be played Toronto versus Vancouver in Vancouver.
Vancouver, Bruce, there it is. Keep it going. Let's see the Canucks extend this streak.
Ooh.
I'm rooting for them now. Like, I'm really rooting for the Canucks now.
Okay, I gotta go Toronto. I just gotta go Toronto. I just think they're a better team. I'm with you on the Boudreaux thing. I'm with you on the Vancouver thing, but I'm going Toronto. So here we go. Starting off already on the different side of things, right? So, all right, here we go. LA Kings versus Carolina.
LA.
Ooh.
LA's played really good teams really closely. Actually, they beat Florida. They beat Florida. They played Tampa very closely. Yeah. Carolina's missing a bunch of key pieces. They were still able to beat Detroit last night, but those Aho being out, Svechnikov being out, Stahl being out, like these guys out of the lineup is going to catch up with them at some point. LA's been playing well. I'm going Kings.
Okay, you convinced me. I'll take LA with all those guys out from Carolina. Yeah, that's a tough list to try to. There's no way you're going to be able to replace all those guys or even come close, even by committee. So that's a big road to hoe. Yeah, LA, and they played Tampa Bay really well. They beat Florida. So all right, I'll take the Kings on that one. All right, next game is Chicago versus Dallas in Dallas.
Oh man. I don't think either of these
coin
teams
flip
are good.
of ugliness.
I don't think either of these teams are good.
Nope.
I'm gonna go Stars. They got to be in desperation mode here. This is a divisional game. They're on a bad losing streak. They've got to be absolutely in full on desperation mode in this game. Do whatever it takes to win the game. If they're not, then there's bigger problems with Dallas, and you might be looking at more significant changes happening there. This is a huge game for the Stars to make a statement and try and get back on track. And if they can't, I mean, I wouldn't be against firing the coach if they can't find a way to win this game.
Wow. So, gosh, with all that being said, I'm going to pick Chicago. Because that's a lot of pressure on one game.
Well, it's been brewing now for more than just one game.
Yeah, no, I know. But, yeah, I just, especially with Dallas being on that recent losing streak, I'm just not feeling confident enough to pick them. Right, exactly. So, not that Chicago's that much better, but, well. They're the lesser of two, so I'm going with Chicago on that one. All right, New Jersey Devils versus Detroit.
Detroit's at home, so I'm taking the Red Wings.
Yep, me
They're
too.
very good at home, very not, well, it's not that they play bad, but they don't pick up a lot of wins on the road. But Detroit's at home, Red Wings.
Yep, and New Jersey not playing so good either, so
they're struggling.
Yeah, big time. All right, Edmonton at Seattle.
Oilers.
Oh, you didn't go there.
Oilers.
Oh, you didn't go there.
They broke the losing streak, so I feel like they'll win at least a few now. They'll probably win like 3 or 4 in a row, and then they'll lose again and maybe go on another losing streak. But
all right, so that at least means now we can watch the OGRs now without Peyton's veins sticking out in his neck.
Well, if they lose this game, the vein might be back.
Right. Okay, because oh my gosh, man. Anyway, so if you want to check out somebody's true feelings about the Edmonton Oilers, check out Peyton on the radio, man.
Peyton is the one to check out for Oilers feelings. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, man. That guy just really lets you know how you feel. I have to go Seattle on this.
It's going to be funny if Seattle wins this game. Because the Oilers are now in legitimate trouble of dropping out of a playoff spot.
Exactly.
That's a problem.
And it's in Seattle.
Yes, it is in Seattle.
Who knows? It could be one of those fluky things. Look, I'm just having fun, right?
Yeah.
So the last one is Ottawa versus Philly, in Philly.
Yes. Man, I feel like this is a toss-up. I'm going to take the Flyers because I tend to lean home teams in toss-up games.
You know, I really want to pick Philadelphia. I really do. But I really can't.
Ottawa's been pretty decent recently.
Yeah. I really want to pick Philadelphia. I believe Carter Hart's going to be the one starting, and I believe they have Carter Hart's going to, well, I really want to pick him, John, but I can't.
Ottawa is 5-5 in their last 10 games, so they're back to like at least 500. Okay, they're playing better.
Yeah, I win it. I did it. I picked Ottawa. There you have it. I picked Ottawa.
All right, there we go.
Okay. All right, so John, let's get into the next segment here, and this is where John and I like to select the game of the week. This is a game that we feel is one that you guys should be tuning into, should be watching, checking out, streaming, whatever the case is.
Yep.
So, John, what is your game of the week?
St. Louis versus Winnipeg Sunday. Sunday, which is the 19th. We know what we talked earlier about what just happened with Winnipeg. Paul Maurice resigns. It's gone. Dave Lowry takes over. You got a new coach in Winnipeg. You've got a team that is underachieving this year, that is out of the playoffs, that is struggling. It's a divisional game. Huge divisional game.
Yeah.
You have everything surrounding the coaching change. Winnipeg really needs a win. And, I mean, these games against your divisional opponents, especially, where Winnipeg is in the standings, St. Louis is 6 points ahead of the Jets. So this is a huge game to make up some ground on the Blues, if at all possible, for the Winnipeg Jets. It's at home. It's in Winnipeg. This is just a huge one under a new coach for Winnipeg, and that divisional aspect of it, I think, really makes it a huge game this week. So I'm going to be really excited for that one.
I'm going to have to second that one, because that was one of the games that I was looking at as well, going, ooh, that's probably going to be a really good game. And then I went and, John picked that one.
Yes.
All right, so I went with Tampa Bay versus Vegas. This is going to be on the 21st, the first day of the winter solstice.
Yes.
December 21st. And this is the matchup that everybody thought was going to be the Stanley Cup matchup, was going to be Vegas versus Tampa Bay last year, and that just wasn't the case.
That didn't happen, yep.
So now we're going to finally get it. And I hope all the teams are going to be healthy and able to go and play.
Yeah.
Because I think this is going to be a good matchup. I still think Tampa Bay is going to beat them. But
Yeah, I hope this game, I hope we still have this game on Tuesday. It feels like Tuesday, which is only, a few days away, but it feels like so much could change in those few days. But
exactly. So we're hoping that this game goes off.
We're hoping that it happens. We're hoping that all of these games happen, but we don't know for sure with the current state of things.
So fingers crossed, we're hoping that they do. So, all right, my man, we're into our last segment, one of our favorite segments.
Yes, Prospect Watch. We look at young talent, either coming up or maybe not quite into the NHL, maybe just entering the NHL, but young prospects, kids that are, either making impact or going to be making an impact very soon at the NHL level. And I see two very good names on this notes sheet tonight. So, Steele, who do you got?
Yeah, buddy. When I saw your name, I was like, ooh. Yeah, that's a good name.
Well, it's a big week for him, so.
So let's go with the guy that I picked, and that was Cole Perfetti. How about a 19-year-old, 5'11", 177-pounder that has been lighting it up for the Manitoba Moose. 17 games played, 6 goals, 9 assists for 15 points as a +6 player. He was called up to the Jets for 2 games played. He has no points or no goals or anything like that. But however, Mr. Perfetti was selected to the World Junior Championships to represent his Canadian team. So congratulations on that one, sir.
Yes, Cole Perfetti is a fantastic young player in the Winnipeg Jets organization. And I think he's going to be a really good player for them. Probably not a big NHL impact this year. Look for next year to be his true rookie season and him to really break out.
Agreed.
Yeah.
He was a 2020 selection by the Jets. And so, but the fact that he's been called up and to play 2 games already, and the fact that he's lighting it up for the Moose, and the fact that he was selected for Team Canada. I mean, kid's playing really well, and I think you're going to see him in a Jets uniform, obviously longer, because he's already been up for 2 games. Yeah. So. Well, I think he's going to be tough to send back down as long as he continues to play well and score and everything. So
he's going to be one of the biggest players to watch in the World Junior Tournament this year.
I think so too.
Yeah.
He just it's like one of those where like he might be on the cusp of the breakout.
Yeah. I think he is, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. So, John, who is your prospect watch for this week?
Jack Drury, 21-year-old center for the Carolina Hurricanes, 5'11", 174 pounds. Played his college hockey in Boston, or basically in Boston at Harvard University.
At Harvard! He played for Harvard!
It's not quite in Boston the same way some of the other schools are, but it's Boston. It's a Boston school. So Harvard for a couple of years now, just actually made his NHL debut, and we'll talk about that. But he was drafted in the 2nd round, 42nd overall back in 2018 by the Carolina Hurricanes, and been having a very good year in the AHL this year. 23 games played, 7 goals, 9 assists, 16 points, and a +3 rating.
Nice.
But with Carolina having the COVID issues that they've had and the guys out of the lineup, Jack Drury got called up, played his first NHL game last night, and scored his first NHL goal in his first game last night. I actually was calling that game as it happened, and it was awesome to see. His parents and sister were in the stands watching.
Nice.
So they got to see it live. And Jack Drury, a very good young forward, second-round pick for Carolina. Looking like he's going to be an NHL regular probably maybe next year.
Maybe.
I think he probably does go back to the AHL once guys are healthy again in Carolina this year, but he's putting up very good numbers in the AHL. And I think there's a good opportunity for him to be a full-time NHLer next season. And another really good young player for Carolina who has done a tremendous job of building that team.
I'll tell you what, Carolina, man, they just basically did a major overhaul in their entire goaltending room and some of their defensive players, and they just didn't matter.
No, they're still one of the best.
Didn't matter, you know what I mean? So, and man, this Jack Drury kid, he's for real, okay? He's for real, okay? He's going to be a good player for them. You just watch. Yeah. He's going to have a good coach with Roddy Brind'Amour, who's going to bring him right along. So yeah, be looking for him to be dressing for the Carolina Hurricanes and staying with the Carolina Hurricanes much sooner rather than later. So for sure.
All right, that's gonna do it here for episode 48.
Wow, 48, man, that's amazing.
We're getting close to 50.
I'm telling you, John. Listen, thank you so very much for all you do. Thank you for all the great calls and all the great games that you do, man. Look. We don't call you the GOAT for nothing, okay? Love all the great work, all the great stuff that's going on. Also, really would like to thank Manscaped. Yeah. Please go check that out. Go to manscaped.com. Get 20% off your entire order. No matter what you order, you get 20% off. Go into where you enter your name and all that, and X out the gift code and put in OTWH. That is OTWH for Off the Wall Hockey. Yep. You still get the same 20% discount, okay? And you still get free shipping no matter what on anything that you order. Trust me when I tell you that Manscaped is the real deal. It's got the tools to take care of all of your delicate needs and areas. Trust me when I tell you, we use it. We're part of the Manscaped, wave, and we're behind it 100%. And thanks for Manscaped for being behind us.
Absolutely. Big thank you to them for their support. And that's going to bring us here to the end. Another episode in the books. And we really appreciate all of you guys watching. This is the Off the Wall Hockey Show, a hockey show for hockey fans, part of the Steel Flyers All Sports Network. You can check out all the work from everyone at Steel Flyers at www.steelflyers.com. Perlo, Peyton, Joe, Steele, me, where it's all there.
Hockey Writers
Inc. It is all there, and you guys can get that all in one spot. So steelflyers.com is a great place to check out, and that's
can't wait to be next week, man.
Here, we'll talk to you next week. We'll have 49 coming up. That's gonna be we're almost to 50. That 50th episode is gonna be a special one.
Special one on the 50th, but we're gonna do a special one for next week. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because next week. So next Friday's Christmas Eve.
Yeah, next Friday's Christmas Eve. Yep. So we'll have a special announcement for the show format that we're going to do for Christmas Eve. Yeah. So stay tuned for that. We're going to try to have a little fun and a little bit more interaction for Christmas Eve. Yeah. So be staying tuned for that announcement coming here real soon for next Friday's show. Thank you very much for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys. Really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your night. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you back next time for episode 49. That's going to do it here from us. Talk to you guys soon.